ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real, something grown, something every woman needs to hear. Let that man choose you, even if he's tied to somebody else. And I know that sounds bold, but listen closely. Real love cannot be forced, because anything that's real has to come from a person's deepest truth, not their pressure points. When a man chooses you, it has to come from his own clarity, not from your convincing. See, too many women try to make a man see their worth, hoping that if they love hard enough, wait long enough, or give enough, he'll suddenly realize what's right in front of him. But that's not how men work. A man doesn't fall in love because you explain yourself to him. He falls in love because something inside him recognizes something inside you that he can't find anywhere else. When a choice is forced, it never lasts. It's like trying to push a seed into the ground and yell at it to grow faster. Love grows in its own timing, in its own space, with its own energy. You can't take a man who's confused, tied up, or emotionally unavailable and drag him into clarity. That's not your job. That's not your role. That's not your weight to carry. And even if you did manage to push him into choosing you, you would always feel like you're holding his decision together with tape and prayer. What makes you powerful is understanding that love based on choice is stronger than love based on pressure. When a man chooses you freely, he is committed in a way that pressure cannot produce. He shows up differently. He speaks differently. He thinks differently. He invests differently. And the reason is simple. When a man chooses you on his own, he is choosing with intention, not with circumstances. He is choosing because he wants to, not because he feels obligated, guilty, or afraid to lose you. And that difference matters because real love requires a man to stand up, not be pushed forward. He has to rise to meet you, not be lifted into place. A man who chooses you freely will give you his best because he understands you could have walked away at any time, but you didn't. He knows you didn't pressure him, didn't manipulate him, didn't corner him. You simply stood in your worth and he came to you. That kind of choice builds respect, and respect is the oxygen of a relationship. Without it, everything feels suffocating. But with it, everything feels natural. You don't have to question him. You don't have to doubt him. You don't have to pull out of him what should be freely given. You don't have to wonder if he's thinking about somebody else or if he regrets his decision. When he chooses you with a clear heart and a clear mind, he gives you something pressure never can, emotional safety. And that safety is what allows you to breathe, to trust, to relax. Love shouldn't feel like you're fighting for a spot. Love shouldn't feel like you're negotiating your value. Love shouldn't feel like you're convincing someone why they should stay. Love should feel chosen, and chosen love only exists when a man is free to make the decision himself. That's why forcing anything ruins everything. When you understand your value, you no longer want a man you had to push. You want a man who walked toward you on his own with intention and with certainty. If he's tied to someone else, that's his confusion, not your burden. And that truth is something every woman needs to understand on a deep level. Too often, women carry emotions that don't belong to them. They take on a man's indecision, his divided loyalty, his unfinished chapters, and his unresolved history as if it's their responsibility to fix. But let me tell you something real. Whatever situation he created before you showed up is not your weight to carry. You didn't tie him to someone else. You didn't promise that woman anything. You didn't make the commitments. He now feels stuck inside. He's the one who built those walls, and he's the one who has to climb them. The moment you start feeling responsible for the knots a man tied in his own life, you lose your peace, and nothing is worth sacrificing your peace for. When a man is tied to someone else, emotionally, mentally, physically, or through long-term history, it means he is living in a divided space, and a divided heart produces confusion. He might admire you, want you, care for you, feel connected to you, but still hesitate because he hasn't cleaned up the life he created before you. And here's the difficult part. As much as he may like you, desire you, or feel something real for you, he cannot give you the version of himself that you deserve if he's still anchored somewhere else. A man cannot build something new while he's holding on to something old. He cannot give you his full heart while half of it is still entangled. He cannot give you clarity while he's living in confusion. This isn't about you not being enough. This isn't about him liking someone else more. This is about him not being able to show up fully for anybody until he untees his own knots. And that is why this cannot be your burden. The moment you start trying to help him sort out his situation, trying to guide him, fix him, save him, or speed up his decisions, you become part of a story that is not yours. You turn into emotional support for a problem you didn't create. And women do this because they care deeply, because they want to believe in his potential, because they see something good in him. But caring for someone shouldn't require you to carry their confusion on your back. Love doesn't mean becoming the solution to someone else's chaos. Love means showing up whole, ready, clear, and committed. If he can't do that, it's not your assignment to make him ready. A man who truly wants to be with you will untangle his own life. He will handle what needs to be handled. He will close what needs to be closed. He will have the tough conversations he's been avoiding. He will take care of his responsibilities without dragging you into the middle of them. And he will do it because he understands that you deserve a man who comes to you free, not tied up, clear, not confused, available, not divided. A man's confusion is his to solve. Your heart was never built to carry a burden that isn't yours. Your standards teach him what access to you requires, and this is the part so many women overlook when emotions get involved. A man learns you by how you carry yourself, not by how much you say. He pays attention to what you allow, what you tolerate, what you entertain, and what you walk away from. Your standards are like silent teachers. They tell him what he can get away with, what he must improve, and what will absolutely never be accepted. A man may test you without even realizing it, just to see if you mean what you say. And every time you set a boundary and stand on it, you teach him how to treat you. Every time you ignore a boundary for the sake of keeping the peace, you teach him that he can lower the bar. This is why standards are not suggestions, they are instructions. They do not repel the right man, they help shape him. When a woman has real standards, it doesn't make her difficult, it makes her valuable. Men respect what they must rise to meet. They respect what requires effort, intention, consistency, and discipline. And the truth is, if you don't set standards, a man will create them for you based on his comfort, not your worth. He'll treat you according to what's easy, not what's right. That's why standards matter, because without them, a man will take the path of least resistance, and that path never leads to respect. A man needs to know that access to you is earned, not given just because he showed up with charm or attention. He needs to feel that being in your life is a privilege, not a casual opportunity. Your standards also reveal your sense of self-worth. When you know who you are, you naturally require a certain level of behavior from anyone who wants a place in your life. You don't tolerate inconsistency. You don't entertain confusion. You don't accept half effort. You don't wait around unsure of where you stand. You don't settle for someone who doesn't show up fully and honestly. A man feels this, he sees it, and he either steps up or steps out. If he steps up, it's because your standards called out the better version of him. If he steps out, it's because he never intended to meet them in the first place. Either way, your standards protect you. In relationships, you teach people how to treat you not through long speeches, but through consistent action. If you say you want commitment, but entertain inconsistency, he learns that your words don't match your reality. If you say you won't be an option, but stay while he's still tied to someone else, he learns you don't mean it. If you say you're a high-value woman, but settle for bare minimum effort, he learns he never needs to give you more. This is why standards must be lived, not spoken. A man watches how you move far more than he listens to what you say. When a man realizes that you are a woman with standards, he approaches you differently. He thinks twice before playing games. He becomes more intentional with his words. He becomes more consistent with his actions. He treats you with caution, respect, and seriousness because he knows you won't stick around for anything shallow or temporary. Your standards train him on how to love you, how to respect you, and how to show up for you without you ever having to raise your voice or beg for proper behavior. Self-respect is the most attractive thing you can wear because it changes the way you walk into a room, the way you speak, the energy you give off, and the type of people you attract. A woman who respects herself doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't shrink, and doesn't settle for crumbs. She carries herself with a quiet confidence that tells the world she knows her value. And the beautiful thing about self-respect is that you don't have to announce it. People can feel it. A man can sense when a woman has a strong inner foundation. He sees it in the way she holds her boundaries. He hears it in the way she says, No, without hesitation, he feels it in her energy because she doesn't move like a woman desperate to be chosen. She moves like a woman who understands she is the choice. When a woman has self-respect, she doesn't get tangled in situations that undermine her worth. She's not interested in being the other woman, the temporary comfort, or the emotional backup plan. She refuses to put herself in positions where she is undervalued or overlooked. She would rather walk alone than walk with someone who doesn't see her clearly. This kind of strength is powerful, and men respond to it with either admiration or distance, depending on the kind of man they are. The right man becomes more intentional, the wrong man becomes intimidated. Either way, your self-respect filters out what isn't meant for you. Men find self-respect deeply attractive because it forces them to level up. It challenges them to come correct. It makes them aware of their own behavior because they know they can't play with a woman who respects herself. She won't accept excuses. She won't let inconsistency slide. She won't allow herself to be someone's emotional playground. And the truth is, men secretly admire this kind of woman, even if they don't always admit it. She becomes unforgettable because she holds a standard that stays in a man's mind long after she's walked away. A woman who respects herself also speaks differently. She doesn't argue to be understood. She states her truth and lets her actions speak. She doesn't beg a man to stay. She lets him go and trusts that what's meant for her will return. She doesn't need validation from attention. She gets validation from alignment. Her respect for herself creates a natural magnetism because people feel drawn to her strength, her clarity, and her calm. Self-respect also shapes the way you love. When you respect yourself, you don't pour into someone who's draining you. You don't keep giving chances to someone who doesn't change. You don't let your loneliness talk you into accepting half love. You don't allow a man to keep you as an option while he's tied somewhere else. You choose peace over chaos, dignity over desire, and truth over temporary attention. And this makes you powerful because you stop operating from fear and start operating from worth. A man will always value a woman who values herself. He may not say it, he may not show it immediately, but he feels it. It challenges him, it inspires him, it forces him to reflect. A woman with self-respect becomes the kind of woman a man wants to commit to because he knows she won't allow anything less than real, honest, intentional love. And that's why self-respect is the most attractive thing you can ever wear, because it demands a level of love that is worthy of you. Your value is proven by how you walk away, not how you wait, because waiting quietly for someone to choose you has never been a measure of love. It's a measure of endurance. And endurance is not what keeps relationships strong. Clarity does. A woman who walks away from what doesn't honor her shows a level of strength that speaks louder than any words she could ever say. Walking away tells a man that your heart is open but not unguarded. Your love is deep but not directionless. Your time is generous but not free to be wasted. Nothing communicates your worth more than removing yourself from a situation that refuses to rise to the level you deserve. When a woman waits for a man who is unsure